This is the Hughes Fire that you're looking at, and you can see the flames roaring behind us over that hillside. Right now, 31,000 people are currently under mandatory evacuation orders.
We have engines at the houses that are in front of this fire, there to protect those structures. We're concentrating the aircraft where you see the orange glow. That's our main priority, is to slow this fire down and eventually stop it.
You can see the smoke from that fire in this video from inside the cockpit of a California Air National Guard plane. Some people trying to save their homes from the flames.
Yet another massive blaze called the Hughes Fire has started in North Los Angeles County near Castaic Lake. So a good way to think about the geography here is it's about 40 minutes without traffic away from the Pacific Palisades. This is also the area near Santa Clarita where Magic Mountain is located. The fire started at 11 a.m. on Wednesday this week and grew rapidly to 10,000 acres as a result of the winds that are currently plaguing us here in LA. So far, firefighters have luckily managed to contain some of this fire as the winds die down a little bit. They have it contained at 14% of the fire's perimeter, but more winds are coming today. And so there's a lot of fear that any progress made in battling this particular fire, the Hughes Fire, could be reversed. But there is some good news coming as well, since the forecast indicates that there's gonna be some rain in Los Angeles this weekend. But there could be a potential downside to that as well. The anticipated rainfall from Saturday is bringing new fears in the form of mudslides, flooding, and landslides. Areas touched by the recent fires are particularly at risk because torched grounds are less absorbent. So we're not in the clear quite yet, and I'm worried about the winds today and possible reversals of any progress that firefighters made when it comes to the Hughes Fire. But the good news is, so far, there haven't been any homes destroyed or any lives lost. They're trying to do their best to keep this blaze away from people's homes, but 31,000 people have been forced to evacuate.
Yeah, I mean, this is trouble in paradise, right? LA has an enormous number of advantages, but now growing significant disadvantages. Earthquakes, fires, mudslides. It is a perennial here. And but what I'm very curious about is the cause of these fires. We only know about one cause, if I'm correct. So I'd really, really love to know about all the causes, because this is madness. We have to end these fires, and I believe that there are ways to do that if we take precautions. Almost none of which we've actually taken.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit, because 95% of the fires in Los Angeles are started by human beings, either as a result of the utility companies, not upgrading their equipment, downed wires, sparking a fire. There are also arsonists who intentionally spark fires. And then of course, there are accidental fires that happen as a result of like a backyard barbecue or a gender reveal party. And so they're still investigating the causes of the big fires that have happened in LA. But an important fact to know is that, amid those massive fires, the one in Altadena, the one in Pacific Palisades, the Hughes Fire, there have also been smaller fires. And in those smaller fires, there have been arrests of individuals who have been accused of lighting those fires on purpose, of arsonists. Now, authorities, according to CNN, have arrested at least 8 people accused of setting new small fires in the days since the larger fires erupted, including suspects setting trees, bushes, leaves, and trash ablaze, according to police officials. So Jim McDowell, who's the chief of the Los Angeles Police Department, said that, this is during a news conference last week. On the evening of January 14th, a woman was arrested after allegedly setting multiple piles of trash on fire. When the woman was arrested, she admitted to setting fires and said she enjoyed causing chaos and destruction. Another suspect arrested earlier on the same day after allegedly setting a fire in a tree admitted to starting the fire because he liked the smell of burning leaves, said the police chief. And this has been an ongoing issue in California. A total of 109 arson suspects arson arrests were made in 2024, according to statistics from Cal Fire. Arson caused wildfires that burned around 44,609 acres in 2020, according to the same agency.
I don't know. I'm not sure you could find a punishment harsh enough for me to disagree with for these folks. So 20 years for setting a fire? Oh, well, it was just a little fire. No, 20 years. And so, look, the entire Palisades is gone, wiped off the map. If a foreign country bombed the Palisades and caused the destruction that the fire did, we would be at war with them. We would have already killed thousands of people as part of our retribution. But when somebody lights a fire, because, oh, I like chaos and destruction. Well, I hope you like the inside of a prison cell for at least a couple of decades. So if you say, oh no, I don't care, or oh no, we should be lenient with them, go tell the members of the families who died in those fires. What are we up to, 26 or more people who died in these fires so far, Anna?
27 people have died as a result of the fires in LA, but there are still people missing, and it's just one of the worst stories I read about was what happened in Altadena with a woman who was trying to urge her elderly father to evacuate. He decided against evacuating. He said he wanted to defend his home. I really wish he did evacuate. His home burned down, and when his daughter went back to the scene, she found his remains, on his bed. It's so heartbreaking. And Cenk, to your point about lengthy prison sentences, well, we do have a penal code in California. Arson causing great bodily injury to another person can be punished by up to 9 years in prison. Arson, burning an inhabited structure or inhabited property, that could lead to a prison sentence up to 8 years. So it won't be multiple decades. But I think that the problem, Cenk, is a lot wider than this. Because I don't think that these are necessarily individuals who are totally fine, have no mental health issues, and are just causing chaos. I think that what's happening is there's a large population of people on the streets in LA who are suffering from severe mental health issues. And we have just accepted this idea that it's totally fine to neglect them and allow them to live and die on the streets. And an investigation by a local NBC affiliate found that there were a whopping 13,909 homeless fires in 2023, which was nearly double the number of such fires in 2020. And according to the LA Fire Department, more than half, 54% of fires in 2023 were started by the homeless. Now, does this mean that all homeless people are bad? No, of course not. But what's overrepresented in regard to the homeless population on the streets in LA is mental health, real mental health illness that just keeps getting neglected.
Yeah, so look, I've had people close to me who had mental health issues, and just leaving them in the streets is the worst possible idea. That is not a left-wing position. Oh, you have mental health issues, we give you freedom. No, yes, we should do funding so that if you send folks to a facility, it's not a nightmare like it was in the past. Yes, if you're in California, that funding should actually go to that instead of the governor's buddies and into the ether and into the clouds where all of our funding seems to go. But yes, we have to take people off the streets that have mental health problems. You're not helping them by leaving them on the streets. You're not helping anyone else. So this is absurd. And for the folks, and everybody's in different categories. And guys, anytime we talk about this, you please do not overgeneralize. Because you have mental health issues doesn't mean you start fires, doesn't mean you're violent. That's a small minority of folks, right? But nevertheless, if you have any kind of mental health issue and you're in the streets, we've got to try to at least help you, and leaving you on the streets isn't helping you. And if you've got a drug problem and you're starting a fire because you'd like to get high on meth or whatever the hell, I gotta be honest, I don't have an overwhelming amount of sympathy for you. I don't know if that makes me a bad leftist. Oh gosh, I wish your fire worked well so you could get even more high. It's not a thing that I think often. So what I do think is I don't need to punish that guy and I don't need to get angry at him, etc. But I do need to get him into some sort of addiction treatment, and I don't need it to be optional at all.
Yeah. And I want to make look, the point I'm trying to make is I don't want someone who's homeless and who has severe mental health issues thrown in prison for multiple decades. I don't want that.
That doesn't help anyone.
I don't think that doesn't help anyone. So my point is, since this city and this state, generally speaking, has totally neglected this issue, they have created a situation in which these people who needed help end up causing harm to others, and then they end up in prison. And I don't want that. I don't think that's the right solution either. Okay, our local lawmakers have failed these people. So I do actually have a lot of sympathy for them. I don't want to, lay down the law and lock them up for the rest of their lives. I want to find a solution to a very obvious issue that has been neglected in this city and in this state.
One last thing. This is why it's so important for people on the left to ask and demand accountability from their representatives. If you've got a Democratic mayor, Democratic governor, it doesn't, like some will say, no, don't criticize Karen Bass, that helps Trump. Oh my God, that's crazy talk, utter crazy talk. No, you have to hold them accountable, because if you don't, what's going to happen next is you're going to get a Republican governor. And they're not going to be talking about funding for mental health and addiction issues. They're going to be talking about lock them all up and who gives a goddamn. And they're going to win. So please take action to hold your own accountable so we can get back to sanity.
100%.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below, because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.